Live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, this is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thanks for joining us. There is a live look of Mount Hood from our ski bowl camera. You can see a lot of that snow off of there. Still some up at the top, but I will tell you right now, it makes me want to go camping so badly. And then of course we just lose the camera right when that happens. So the temptation is over. But thank you for joining us. We are live here in the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. We appreciate you joining us. Thanks for watching throughout the afternoon. We cover a wide range of topics, but Mount Hood is what we're talking about. Mount Hood National Forest in particular, and some fire restrictions that are going into place on July 17th. So we're going to talk about what that means, especially if you're going to be going out there into the wilderness, some different things you should be aware of, maybe some things that you weren't aware of that you should definitely know. So we've got a lot here to cover, and to do so, we've got Reese from Mount Hood National Forest joining us. And Raven, thank you for being here with us. I really appreciate your time in talking about this. And let's jump right into it. When it comes to these fire restrictions, can you tell us what that means? Maybe where we're at now and what it means to go into these.
Sure. So fire restrictions are implemented every year in Mount Hood National Forest. It's usually in July. We're not in fire restrictions until tomorrow, July 17th, like you said. But what changes is campfires are no longer allowed across the entirety of the forest. And there are some things that are still allowed, but generally we are restricting the campfire use to help diminish the chances of human-caused wildfires, and that continues throughout the summer season until conditions change, where we repeal the restrictions.
And so those campfires, that's whether you're in, remote camping or whether you're in an actual campground, it doesn't matter, right?
Yes, absolutely. On Mount Hood National Forest, we restrict all campfires, including in developed campgrounds. That includes the popular sites like Trillium Lake Campground and others. Some national forests do it in stages, but on Mount Hood, it's all campfires. However, we do still allow things like portable cooking stoves or portable campfires that are fueled by propane or other liquefied fuel. That's because they can be switched off instantly. But anything where there's a flame, like in a, developed campfire pit, that is not allowed.
Okay, so important to know there, you can use something that's propane lit that you can shut off right away, but otherwise it's a no-go when it comes to fires. And when we talk about some of the fire danger that happens out there, do you find that campfires are one of the number one causes of issues when it comes to wildfires?
Well, generally speaking, human-caused wildfires are the number one cause of wildfires, the human-caused. Campfires specifically are a big cause. I don't know if they're the number one cause, because there are other things like chains dragging on the road during hot conditions or parking in dry grass, things of that nature. Fireworks, which are absolutely prohibited on national forests all year round. So it is a high likelihood, though, because in campfires, that really sinks into the ground. Sometimes people don't put it out all the way, and there's a lot of people on the national forests, especially so close to Portland. So it definitely helps reduce the chances.
And you mentioned some of those other ones right there. I'd definitely like to double down on those too, just to make sure people are aware. So you've got the campfire restrictions, which is very important that people follow that. But there's some other causes, other ways that people can accidentally or inadvertently start a fire as well that they should be aware of.
Absolutely. Like I said, camping in an area or parking in an area with high grass, and it's in the summer that's very dry, low fuels in that grass, that can spark by just your vehicle being so hot. Same thing with dragging a chain. Always make sure your chains are secured. That happens a lot on highways, starts along the highway. And things like smoking. You need to make sure that you're in a clear area. In developed campgrounds, it's allowed because there isn't any grass or anything in your campsite, but you don't want to be in the middle of the woods surrounded by plants and smoking. Same kind of thing with fireworks. Absolutely not allowed. I will say it every time, all the time. It is not allowed. Even sparklers are not allowed on national forest land. So there's lots of ways people can be careful out there. And it's really any heat source, anything that has a fire, a flame, or just gets really hot, including machinery. That's how you can start a wildfire. So always be thoughtful when you're using things that are really hot. Even target shooting, it can hit a rock against your drop, and then it can, start a spark.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I didn't even think about something like that. So all of those things that could be a source of heat or flame, you need to pay attention to and watch out for, because the last thing we want is a fire starting over that. Now, to that extent, for people who are out there in the woods in Mount Hood National Forest, what if you come across somebody who is violating some of that? Say there is somebody shooting off fireworks into the woods, or or that it could be a situation where maybe you don't want to confront them, or that would be a dangerous situation. What is it that somebody can do when they're noticing some of these violations for that?
Sure. If you're in a developed campground and if there's a camp host nearby, the first thing you can do is report it to them. It's their job to help keep the campground safe for everyone that's there. But you can also call 911, especially if you think it's extra dangerous. But there's some folks call our dispatch, Columbia Dispatch. 911 will get you there. That's the easiest one to remember. Then they can send folks out. And if it's during the day, on the weekday, our offices, all 4 offices are open Monday through Friday, and they can contact our local law enforcement officers on the National Forest to try to get out there and take a look. It happens. Sometimes it's accidental, sometimes it's intentional, and, it's better safe than sorry. But, folks are trying to get out there. We're in the middle of nowhere. So it's a hard thing to do. I totally understand. But my recommendation is always have a big bucket of water nearby if you can, if just in case, even if you're using your portable fuel fired, maybe others will need it. And it's just a good habit to have on hand.
That was what I was going to ask too. What are some recommendations that people can do? Even being aware of fire restrictions, just to be extra vigilant, or even be able to help put something out if it's just starting.
Yes, it's something I recommend to anyone going on a national forest, even outside of the summer season. Always keep water on hand. You don't know when you'll see any potable water, and we carry gallons in my personal vehicle just to be safe. But that's a great way to stay prepared. You should be aware of where you do and don't have cell service, because you certainly won't be able to contact 911 if you're in a dead area. So really just water is the main thing, and making sure that you know what fire restrictions are where. It varies not just across national forests, but private lands that's managed by Oregon Department of Forestry. And really your biggest tool is knowledge and preparedness, and making sure that your friends and family are also aware. That's the best way.
Yeah, doing that research before you go up there. And I will say too that sounds like we just got notification like Gifford Pinchot, I believe, put in some fire restrictions as well. So across the Columbia. So it's a regional thing. And when you see some of these wildfires that are happening, like that Campfire over there in near Madras, I mean, that's the result of what can happen if people don't follow some of this stuff. So really, really important. Anything else that you think is just important for people to know? You mentioned doing some of that research before you go. What's a good way that people can do that to understand where those restrictions are?
Yeah, so the best thing you can do is even a simple Google search of Mount Hood National Forest. If you don't have the website on hand, you just go to our website, and it's usually right front and center. You can also call any of the district offices. They're open Monday through Friday. We have great front desk staff that have a lot of information, and if you have a specific question about a specific site, they'll be there to help you. And, we want people to be extra safe in the summer, and fire safety is really a huge part of that here in Oregon.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, to talk about this and to get this word out there too. So everybody, as Reverend mentioned, be prepared yourself, but let other people know as well. This is to stay safe, and for everybody out there who enjoys the wilderness, like myself, you want things to just stay nice out there, and we don't want any more wildfires than necessary. So thank you very much. Really, really appreciate your time and letting everybody know about this.
Thank you for having me.
And for everybody watching, again, we are live streaming here, so thanks for doing that. I did mention that Campfire over there in Madras, so we're going to be talking to the Oregon State Fire Marshal coming up at 2 o'clock. So 15 minutes or so, and this will be on whatever platform you're watching me live on now. You can join right back here. So the Fox 12 Oregon app, that's a great way to do that, but we'll give you an update on what's happening over there with that, some resources, some evacuation zones have been expanded. We'll have all those details here shortly, and you can always go to kptv.com as well. But thanks for joining us. We'll take a break for right now. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.